So, you hit a massive creative plateau and you feel like you still got the passion, but it's taking you nowhere. Your growth has been stagnating and you see all the people around you growing much faster than you while you lose your time thinking, what is wrong with me? Why can't I write music anymore? Why can't I feel the joy in it anymore? Why am I falling down, falling back while all my peers are becoming way more successful than I at incredible speed? What can I do to improve again and to sustain growth and find joy and, fulfillment in my artistic endeavors? Sometimes in a career, musical, artistic, what it is, you will stumble upon this situation. Maybe you're in this situation right now. I know I am on a big degree right now. And I've been there, I think, 3 other times in my past. This thing can lead you to quit very easily, or it can lead you, after witnessing and going through a bit of pain and frustration, it can lead you to evolving into you 2.0. In this case, I've been through this 3 times, so it would be like Alex Mugala 4.0. But yeah, how can you take this and make a good outcome out of it? Let's see how this happens, why that happens, and let's ponder about what we can do to improve out of this situation. So when you hit that sort of plateau, chances are you probably there are many reasons for that, but one reason that comes to mind is that probably you overworked yourself. Maybe you haven't left your bedroom studio in like 3 weeks or something, and your brain needs a bit of relax. Because you cannot always be in active creative mode. You can have, there's contraction and expansion and contraction periods. It's like breathing, creating is like breathing. Doing it requires you to use, sort of like your creative oxygen, but then you also need to breathe it in again to be able to sustain an effort that will lead you to create more by using that creative oxygen or creative juice. And what that means is that you need to have a refill, you need to refuel your creativity by consuming stuff that you love. Playing video games that are freaking artistic and will pretty much bombard your brain with creative ideas. Watching movies and listening to other people's music, stuff that is really creative, really outside of your comfort zone. So don't go and listen to the same music you listen to every day. Don't go and play the same video games you play every day. Do something new, find new sources of inspiration, and that will firsthand lead you to, probably when you go back to writing music, it will lead you to do it in a different way. So for example, when I had a Slump, my first one, I haven't played video games for a year or something, which is crazy for me. I'm a huge nerd. You can see that from my shirt here. And after that Slump, I was like, okay, let me go back to playing video games. I bought Metal Gear Rising Revengeance and never played a Metal Gear game. And I thought, well, Raiden is a crazy character. Let's just play his game. And it's this game where, I don't usually play those sort of games. In this game, you're this freaking robot ninja, some robot samurai that hack and slashes through entire buildings. And it's one of the most badass games I ever played. The story might not be the most mind-blowing, and I'm usually a guy who loves video games with stories, but I went a bit out of my comfort zone. That sort of action that I wasn't expecting blew me away, and the soundtrack in that game was so freaking artistic and led me to buy a guitar. I wouldn't have bought the guitar if it wasn't for Metal Gear Rising. And also for the fact that in that summer, I was listening to a lot of music from this new artist I found out called Celldweller, which is now one of my favorite artists of all time. And his music is full of sometimes screamo, those things, which for the most part, I'm a black kid. I used to, the most music I listened to when I was little, other than soundtracks, were rap. I didn't like rock music so much. Especially I didn't like screamo. So, for example, I never listened to Linkin Park because of their screams and stuff. And that summer I was like, oh, well, let me do stuff that I'd never done. So let me listen to this Celldweller guy. And this guy encompasses so many genres, other than metal, also drum and bass and electronic and orchestral, and those screamo as well. And I was like, oh, well, I'm just gonna, put it through with the screams and just listen to the music. And that guy became one of my #1 inspirations, and that's where I got the idea of buying a guitar and trying it out. And buying the guitar led me to write music in a different way. My music was never the same after getting that instrument. So a good thing you can do is to get another source of inspiration, discover new artists, and then probably try to incorporate what they express you, what they teach you, try to be a bit more like them and experiment in the ways they write music, incorporate that in your music. Another reason why that might happen, like the creative slump, is probably your circumstances or the person you are gave you all that they had to give you in terms of growth, in terms of like expression, etc. You know, we make art, but our art is about our life. So if you've been running on the same routine for the last, I don't know, 4 years, 3 years or something, you've been dating the same, like you're going out with the same friends, you've been dating the same person, or you've been single for 4 years, or you haven't had a partner that brings new emotion in your life, or you've been going to the same places, haven't traveled, and all those things. You are pretty much consciously choosing to put yourself in this box with limitations in terms of what can get into it. And if you limit what can get into your mind, you limit what can get out of it. So what I'm saying is that sometimes to upgrade your art, to upgrade your joy into creating, your motivation, you need to upgrade your life. So it's easy for us musicians, artists, to only think about our careers, especially when you have a following. Right now on YouTube, I have like 20,000 people following me, and you guys are expecting new tutorials every single day. And that puts me in the perspective of, okay, I need to release something. I need to focus on my career, because it's growing. If I don't focus on it now, I'm going to lose it, etc. And that puts you into this sort of, hamster wheel, and you keep on running, and you see results keep on getting more and more, but your angst, your sense of unfulfillment, your feeling of, oh, I'm not doing what I should be doing, becomes bigger by the day. So what we need to do is sometimes to take a step back when we can. That is not possible for every single one of us. Like if I disappear from this channel for a year, you guys are going to forget about me, for sure. So that is not always possible, but you should find a measure in which you can take a step back and remember that you are a human being and try to upgrade your life. Is there something you've been neglecting? For example, myself, I've been neglecting relationships and getting a license drive for many years because I was completely focused on my career. And working from home, I thought, well, I don't need a license drive anyway, and all those things. Because I'm like, I don't need it to drive to my work. I work from home, and etc. etc. I live in Milan, lots of public transportation, but not having one is limiting me in the sense of what I can do. Like I cannot decide like on a Saturday night to go to a different city to see a concert unless I have a friend who comes with me and has a car, for example. That limits me in the sense of what concerts I can go to, what experiences I can have. If I choose to have them, I cannot take like, if I want to go on a trip somewhere near here, I would be limited because I don't have a car, I don't have a license drive. So if I instead had one and I could take that trip, that would lead me to, I don't know, Lake Como, which is like incredible, beautiful location. And I could even practice my photography there, for example, with sites that I don't usually see in the place where I live in. And, practicing another art form is also great, because it kind of puts your brain in the perspective of maybe practicing the same thing, creating art, but in a different context. And you can learn things that are gonna, make you a better musician as well. Like, for example, practicing photography has taught me that composition is everything. So when you take a picture, you need to take care. Like, we, of course, post-process pictures on Instagram and Photoshop and all those things. But the basic, raw idea of the picture, the way you set it, the way the perspective you chose when you took that picture is like 90% of the job. That led me to discover that it's a normal parallel, like it's a logic parallel between photography and music, because when you think about it, with music it's the same. Like when you write an arrangement, that's 90% of the job. After that, you can polish and mix and master all those things, make it more impressive, but you need to nail the right perspective, the right balance, the right composition. And that's something I really started to appreciate after, practicing photography, for example. You can have the same subject, you can say the same thing, but say it in different ways. And some ways are going to make it. So that's another thing you do, like practice other art forms. But back to what I was saying before, in upgrading your life is very important. Also relationships, you know, relationships can motivate the hell out of you, you know? Like, if you're a single guy who, like, you're single, you just care about yourself, kind of, and maybe your audience, yeah. But if you're a guy with a family, for example, you have kids, then you start to have this instinct that is like, I want to give it my all for my children. Or I want to be this incredible person because I want to help create a world that is going to be a better world for my children when I leave. So those sort of emotions, those sort of desires and all those things, they come out of relationships. They come out of bonding with other humans, having children. I'm not saying that you should have children, you know, but that's just an example. If you have a girlfriend or a wife, maybe that's going to motivate you as well because you just want to be like this incredible man that makes her fall in love every single day. I don't know, like, I haven't had a relationship in a long time, but I see my friends who do are a bit more, first, they're a bit more motivated, and second, they're a bit more, they have sort of like someone who can support them when they're not feeling pretty great, you know, about themselves. So that's another thing. And also having great friends, making great friends. If you're a composer, you might want to make composer friends because there's no one out there who can understand and relate to your problems and give you great advice more than composers. So networking or making friends is a great thing. And I don't say networking as a means to go to people who are better than you and tell them, hey, give me this, give me your Stamps FLPs, can you listen to my songs? No, you can just go to a person who's at your level, higher level, or even lower level, and just talk with them like human beings. Make friends like you used to in school, you know? You're like, you have the context. Oh, we're both students, so it's not weird if I approach you because we're both in the same boat. But that doesn't mean that all our talks need to be business oriented and then that I need to think of ways to get something from you. Give value. Give people something worthwhile, even just a, hey, how are you? You have no idea how much important that is for a composer. I almost never get that. I have 20,000 people who write me very frequently, and you know, I understand I make tutorials, so I don't expect people to type on a tutorial, hey, Alex, how are you? But there's people who contact me on a daily basis. And so many times I get messages like, hey, Alex, thank you for your tutorials, that helped me a lot, etc., blah, blah, blah. But can you help me with this one thing? So I'm like, oh, well, another one of those guys. I'm grateful for that. They are grateful for my tutorials, but they just want something out of me. Other times, very rarely, there's that guy who texts me or sends me a message or an email and it says, hey, Alex, just wanted to tell you, like, I really appreciate your job, your tutorials, what you're giving us. And that is all. Your tutorials changed my life, and that's all I wanted to say. That sort of message, which is very rare, is very selfless and wholesome, makes me feel incredibly more motivated to give to everyone, but especially that one person. So there's like this psychological life hack that if you go to people and you just be kind to people, they want to be kind back, which works way better than going to people and telling them, hey, can you give me this? Can you do me one favor? Hey, I love your music, but can you do this? It's like, try to bond with people on a human level because that just makes them your friends. And then that's something incredibly valuable. Like for me, most of my like business possibilities, like labels and affiliation programs, etc., they came out of people I was friends with. And it's not like I became friends with them because I wanted to get there. I was friends with them. And then eventually something happened and they were like, hey, Alex, you want to work together with us? We're creating this thing. Like the guys at Evident, that's how it happened. We were friends before. We traveled together and all those things. And then they created Evident and I had my YouTube channel and we have this sort of affiliation now. And it's not something like, we didn't become friends because of this, but since we are friends and we know each other and we can cross-promote it, etc., we just did it. And that's how it works. And that can really, like, Evident changed my career pretty much. It made this YouTube channel possible. Without their affiliation, I wouldn't be able to make these tutorials for you guys. So, you know, like, being kind helps. So that's another thing. And also be kind to yourself. Because you cannot expect yourself to be always amazing. You know, there's times where you have to be, like, you have to practice. And that's not very pretty. You know, what I'm doing right now is one thing I recommend, by the way, to get out of the slump. This is like a, you know, clutter video with lots of ideas. And sorry for that, but I just feel like I need to get this off my chest, especially for myself. But one thing I'm doing right now is to, again, focusing on something I've been neglected, but in terms of my career. So one thing I've been neglected is learning to play the freaking instruments like a pro. So that's something like I'm doing this 100 days challenge where for 100 days this year, I'll try to learn a different song every single time. I wanted to do this like every single day, but it takes like 2 or 3 hours to learn the song and then make the video. So I'm doing it a bit more sparse. But basically, that's something I've been doing. I've been publishing the videos on Instagram, and they're not glamorous. They're like it's like me playing an instrument that I cannot play well. So sometimes I play the wrong notes. Sometimes I get stuck. Sometimes I sing, and my singing voice fucking sucks. But I just do it because I want to practice, and that's not sexy, you know. It doesn't get as many likes and you know, shares and comments as my Pirates of the Caribbean covers will do. You know, that cover went out there and it got so many freaking likes because it's impressive. It's something I've been working, like my orchestral music shop is something I've been working to in the last like 5 years or something. So of course, if I make an orchestral cover of a very popular song, then people are gonna be like, oh, this is amazing, you're the best. And then if I make like a Final Fantasy cover on piano and I sing, people are gonna be like, what the fuck is this? You know, and they're not gonna share it, and they're not gonna comment it, they're not gonna like it. And the point though is that I don't fucking care because I'm kind to myself right now. You need that. You need to, like, one thing you need, and I'm saying this especially for people who already have a following. When you try something new and it's not so glamorous, you still need to give yourself that sense of entitlement and proudness. When you think about what you're doing, you're going outside of your comfort zone. Right now, it's not glamorous, but once you've been in that outside of the comfort zone for long enough, once you've learned that, that's gonna lead you to be so much better at making music. Like if I learn really how to play piano and bass and guitar and probably sing decently, imagine what impact that would have on my music. So far, I have composed without doing these things at all. Like I cannot do these things, but if I introduce them in my songs, that's gonna be incredible. So, you know, when you go back to being a beginner in something, even if you master something, you go back to being a beginner in something else. Understand, people are not going to like that because people only like things that make them feel well. They make them feel like, oh God, this guy is amazing. But if you show them that you're just like them, you're just a human being, you're erroneous, you're a noob, they're going to be like, oh, who's the fucking pleb? Like, you know, they're not going to think it's sexy. But you don't need to care about that. You just need to care about your growth and the results you're trying to achieve. So try to not give in to this pressure of always needing to be impressive. Because if you always want to be impressive that way, you're never, like, so many things that you could create, you're never gonna do them. Because the best of our creation often comes from experimentation. It often comes from vulnerable places. It often comes from the feeling of, I don't have no fucking idea what the fuck I'm doing, but I'm still doing it because I'm an artist. That's what artists do. They figure out stuff as they go, and sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it doesn't, but that doesn't matter. Your job as an artist is not to become popular or to do things that people are gonna press lots of likes on. Your job is to be a fucking artist. And I'm saying this to you as much as I'm saying this to myself with this challenge right now, like enforcing this belief right now. Because I know if I sing, people are gonna be freaking turned down by it. They're gonna be like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? Like, he's so great at composing orchestral music. He should go back to that and fit in that single box instead of practicing singing. I know people feel like that. And I'm putting it out there anyway, because I want to make myself invulnerable to this idea of not getting like love in terms of like likes and comments, you know? I want to be immune for that. I don't want to chase that. So I actively challenge myself to put myself out there like a fool to feel that pain, because it's not good. Like you freaking practice singing and you publish there and no one sees that, no one comments that. It doesn't feel good. But I want to feel that pain to become immune to it, because I want to see, well, this doesn't stop me and I'm at day 25 now. It's got so much better. That's what counts. So really don't attach your creativity to your popularity. Don't freaking do that. And yeah, so I got lost in this ramble. Probably you're not even listening right now. This is more for me than for you. But if this helps you, I'm glad. But yeah, you should upgrade yourself. And that takes an effort. Like if you want to upgrade yourself in your life, you want to get a relationship or a license or whatever, that's going to lead you to study hard. And you kind of have to do it though, because if you stay at the same level that you are, as a person. It's like being a Charmander. And after level like 16, Charmander doesn't learn new skill in Pokemon. You can either make him evolve in Charmeleon, or you keep it as a Charmander until level 100, but he's never going to learn anything new. So it's worth to do the effort to evolve into U 2.0 and then U 3.0 and U 4.0, and that's never going to feel great, you know, but you need to do it. Because if you don't, then you're going to be like the gym dude, the gym bro who only does biceps, and he looks like a freaking croissant because he has like huge biceps and the legs are like super tiny. You're like, what the hell is wrong with this person? You know, it's unbalanced. A person who has like a crazy career, but a life that is like meaningless outside of that is like the gym bros, like, and then they have no legs. They have no foundation to their muscle. You want that. Now, I'm not saying that you need to like always follow the perfect balance in life and just, you know, do music to 6 hours and then spend time with your friends 6 hours. No. You know, if you want to clean something, you need to dirty something up. That's how it is, pretty much. So it's always like a question of not being every time in balance every time, but it's a question of being okay with being a bit unbalanced, but always going back and forth. So what I did with my music career to make it grow faster is to give up all the rest of my life for like 4 years. The first 4 years, I did nothing else but music, and that was very unbalanced. And then to go back a bit imbalanced, I had to take a bit of a break and go back to maybe traveling, meeting friends, and dating and all those things. And now I'm going back to music, and now, you know, it's always like that. And as long as you keep on moving, as long as there's that dynamic movement, there is growth. And as long as there is growth, you don't get stuck. If you get stuck, it means there is no movement. It's like a song with a freaking cheesy or boring chord progression without movement. That's not good. Your life should be more like a symphony that is rich in color and expressiveness and voices and all those things. Every single one of these is gonna lead you to, you know, be more creative. And what are these voices? All the things we talked about right now, you know, until this point. Try to incorporate them in your life. Also, they say that working out, doing physical exercise is very great for your creativity, and that's something I should do myself, but it's true. Like, it's great for your body, it's great for your mind, which are both things that you need to create music. If you don't have a healthy body, you don't have a healthy mind, you're gonna be very obstructed when you create. Another thing that you can do is to, other than practicing new instruments, is to practicing new genres. Don't limit yourself to, I just want to be like a Hans Zimmer-ish sort of composer. No, what the hell? There's so much music you can write. Like, why don't you just try to write mariachi music for once? Seriously, like, it's something you wouldn't think about, but once you try it, it's so different from what you're used to that it just feels like fun. It feels like discovery. It's like going out with a different person after dating the same old slob for like 5 years and you don't like that person anymore. I'm not saying that, you know, of course, I'm not saying that polygamy is good. I'm not saying that you should change music styles every 5 years. Once you get bored of the old one, but try to incorporate something new. You know, you can be polygamous in terms of like music genres. You don't need to like marry one genre and do it for the rest of your life. You can learn a new genre and then try to blend it in with what you did before. So if you used to write EDM music, you can try to write orchestral music, and then after you got, you know, a best of both worlds, you can do orchestral EDM or something like that, which is what I did in the beginning. I did EDM music, and then I started making like epic music, then I made trailer music, and then now I'm making, you know, video game music covers that encompass my electronic music knowledge, my epic music knowledge, my trailer music knowledge, and my love for video games. And now I'm hitting sort of like a slump, so I need to think of new ways. So what I'm doing is learning instruments, so I can do all of those 4 things and add 5 the instruments. And, you know, so always try to challenge yourself with new genres, etc. Maybe also consider changes, career changes. Like, one of my biggest slumps was when I made trailer music all day, every day, and I didn't love it anymore. I made a change. I was like, okay, I'm not going to do trailer music anymore. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, and I'm going to try something new. And I tried to start this YouTube channel in the process, in the meantime, and that became a main thing because it's awesome. And I was like, oh, well, I can do this. And that's what I've been doing. Now I want to keep on doing this YouTube thing, but I want to now get into the video game music field, which is another completely different thing that I need to master. Writing music for video games must be very different from writing music for trailers. So that's going to lead to many interesting challenges that are gonna teach me many interesting things about music writing. I'm gonna meet new people and, you know, new difficulties, and are gonna keep me up at night and all those things. It's gonna feel dynamics. That's the point. It doesn't need to feel great. You don't need to always be in that little pond where you're the biggest fish. Because if you do that and you stay there, you're like, oh yeah, I'm the shit. I'm the king here. And yeah, you are. But that's a little pond. Eventually, it's gonna become boring as fuck. And you're not gonna grow. And you're gonna see all your friends become much better because they had the balls to go on bigger ponds and challenge themselves further. And you didn't. So what is the best outcome for you? Do you want to become the best you? Or do you just want to be the bossy, you know, little, like a big fish in a little pond, you know? So I think you should always challenge yourself. And another thing is, if all of this still feels like, it's too much work, I don't really feel it, I don't want to do it, I don't feel the passion, to feel the drive, then that means you need to take a freaking break, you know? Take a break. Take a break, be a human. Like, go back to being a human without being an artist. Sometimes you need to do that. You know, sometimes you really need to do that. Because that brings you back to the foundation, to your own truths, to the things you love in life, outside of music. Because if you identify yourself with your art too much, you just become this composer who's not a human anymore, and that's not good. You forgot about all your other passions. Maybe you loved, you know, walking in parks and looking at ducks because ducks say something to your soul. They're like, their gaze is like soothing and everything. And maybe you've been composing music for like 4 years and you haven't looked at a single duck. You lost part of yourself, you know, if you're into that. So go back. If you did all of this feels like daunting, then freaking go back to being you without, like, take a break from music, a hiatus. Sometimes you need to do that. Even the best composers do that. And there's a reason for it. We need it. You know, we need to remind ourselves who we were before we sold our soul to our passion of music. And I'm not saying that's an error. I'm just saying you need to go back sometimes. And if you feel like that, then take a freaking break. Take like 3 months off or something. As long as you don't go starving and as long as you don't lose your fans, you know, you're going to lose a few. But as long as you don't lose the fans that count, because that's something else I want to talk about. The fans versus the fans that count. There's a huge distinction, and the ones you should be focusing on are the ones that count. But as long as you don't lose them, take a break. And then go back to it after 3, 4 months, 5 months with that new inspiration, that new energy, and that new sense of self that you found by looking at 5,000 ducks in the eyes. And then this problem will pretty much be solved. You know, so that's that. Those are my tips, and I will be watching this video quite a few times because I was speaking more to myself than to you. I know this is like psychotic. Kind of, but, you know, it's pretty great. Another thing you can do, actually, is to journal. That's something I used to do, like journal, like every single day, write 1 or 2 pages with your own thoughts, uncensored thoughts, like I did now. I'm journaling in front of my camera, talking to you guys, and I'm publishing it because I think this can help someone, but I'm not I'm not censoring myself. I'm just like vomiting my thoughts. That's what you need to do. Like journal, vomit your thoughts at the end of the day. And that's gonna lead you to realize that you think something. Like sometimes when I was like depressed in my last stages of writing trailer music because I didn't like it anymore, I journaled a lot. And many of the things I wrote, when I read them back, I was like, what the did I really think that? How, like, is this thought coming from me? And I noticed so many thoughts that came from me that I wasn't aware of them. They were in the back of my mind, but I wasn't aware of them until I started journaling. And that makes you aware of what you're thinking, makes you aware of what your true desires are, which is very important. Sometimes we have true desires we don't admit to ourselves. Maybe they're not something we're very proud of. Maybe they're not very sexy, but we still have them. And if you have a desire, you freaking need to follow it because it has something to teach you. Like who was it? Rumi said, being human is a guest house. Every day you have a new arrival, a joy, a depression. And every single one of these, you need to treat them as guests because each has been sent as a guide. So every single desire, every single struggle has been sent as a guide. You need to follow it. You need to embrace what it needs to tell you. So that's why it's important to journal, to go back to your own truths and follow that truth despite what people say. And then after you did that, it's gonna teach you what it needs to teach you, and you're gonna be much better off. So those are my rambly tips for you. For those of you who watched, I surely will be watching this video again. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. And yeah, guys, if you like, I'm surely gonna keep on making tutorials. But if you see me not posting them every single week, well, now you know why. You know, I'm in this sort of like a slump right now. So that's why I'm trying to figure out my way out of this. But I'll try to be active. But if I don't, then be understanding. And also, we have like 100 tutorials right now on this YouTube channel. So you might want to go back and watch one of these, one of the old ones, because there's so much value in my tutorials. As you guys know, I talk a lot. And I do it, in fact, because I want to bring even more value to you guys. I want to bring replay value to my tutorials. So if you feel like, oh, where are the new tutorials, Alex? Well, go back to watch the old ones and see if there's something new they can teach you. And also share the freaking tutorials with your friends and your people, your composers, right? Because if you like, that's a good way to bring back value to me. Who I'm giving value to you without asking anything in return. So if you want to help me there, then freaking share the tutorials with people and send them to me when they have music, like orchestral music questions. So that is all about this rambling. And hey, I'll see you in the next video, be it a tutorial or, oh yeah, the next video actually is going to be tomorrow, Sunday 1st, we're going to have a live stream on Twitch where I'm going to listen to your music and give you advice on what can be improved, etc. Not sure when that's going to happen in the day, but it's going to be tomorrow. I'm going to maybe make a poll asking you what the best times are. But yeah, that's all. So I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow on Twitch and in the next videos if you're here on YouTube. So that is all. Bye-bye.